Counting on alum Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth is getting a lot of attention following her recent podcast. The 26-year-old shared some heartbreaking stories about her family, especially when things fell apart after Jill and Duggar released their books. However, it also gave her a realization regarding her faith. Another thing that Joy Anna talked about was the horrifying dating tradition of her family. One of the topics Joy Anna talked about in the Unplanned podcast was about one of the darkest times of her family. According to the Counting on Alum, Jill and Duggar's books against the IBLP brought them so much stress. My siblings and my parents, and all this stuff was super hard at that time, she recalled, as her parents were put in the hot seat for months following the memoirs. The mother of three even confessed questioning if everything that's been happening to their family was real. But she was also thankful that her sister's memoirs somehow enlightened her when it comes to her beliefs. Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth also talked about the horrifying dating tradition of her family during the same podcast. According to the former Counting on star, her dad would regularly file hundreds of guys who wanted to date his daughters, adding that some of them were even prison inmates. She later revealed that there were so many letters from random men almost every day, and Michelle had to read them first. My mom obviously would read them first, because she's like, "This is weird," but then we all laugh about it, she added. Meanwhile, Austin revealed that Jim Bob has a vetting process for men who want to date his daughters. This is obviously when the show was still blown and going, he said, adding that it was the reason why Jim Bob wanted to have a month and a half of relationship with him before allowing him for his daughter. During the same podcast, Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth shared the time when she and Austin broke a courtship rule for the first time. According to the Counting on Alum, she held Austin's hands for about 15 minutes when he totaled his truck. Jim Bob and one of his sons were there, and Joy Anna's brother told their dad about it. Joy Anna admitted that her father looked disappointed about it, but it seems it never became a big deal due to the incident. The mother of three recalled on the Unplanned podcast how dealing with the changes in her hormones were super hard. Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth still gets emotional when she looks back at the challenges she endured over the last few years, while appearing alongside her husband Austin Forsyth on the Unplanned podcast. The former 19 Kids and Counting star opened up about navigating her postpartum period amid hard family trials following the birth of her third child Gunnar in May 2023. In September 2023, Jill released her memoir Counting the Cost, detailing her experiences. Last January, sister Duggar Vulo published her own memoir, Becoming Free Indeed, My Story of Disentangling Faith from Fear. With Gunnar, I had a super hard postpartum, Joy Anna emotionally recalled on the podcast. It was like the darkest time of my life. Anyway, but it was really good, but it was super hard, and so I feel like I just went through this with the hormone change. The mother of three said dealing with the changes in her hormones were super hard, and at the same time, I felt like my family was just falling apart. Just my siblings and my parents, and all this stuff was super hard at that time, she continued through tears. And so I came to a point where I was just like, what is even real? What do I believe? Like this stuff. Joy Anna said she eventually came to a point in her life where she entered a rebellion phase and began questioning her faith. I was like, okay, what am I going to believe for myself? She recalled. But I feel like it was good, and I can see now looking back how much God grew me in that season. When she read Duggar's book, she thought about her own relationship with her spirituality and shared how the Duggar family grew up with so many standards. Her parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, never preached that she needed to practice all these things and then God will accept you. But that's how I took it personally, she said. My whole Christianity was always a checklist, she explained. I gotta read my Bible, check. I gotta pray, check. And so I feel like it all came just crumbling down during my postpartum. My family had a lot of struggles at that time, and then these books come out, and I had to work through these things that I had. Joy-Anna shared how she never believed she was going to question her faith until she reached a point where she realized she wasn't perfect, and you don't have it all together, and your world's falling apart. That was a super hard time for us, just because I was out of it mentally. I just couldn't handle a lot, she added. Her husband Austin Forsyth revealed that men would approach the Duggar family patriarch, Jim Bob, for the chance to date them. Literally everywhere we went, everyone wanted a Duggar sister, including men behind bars, according to Joy-Anna Duggar Forsyth. On the October 16 episode of the Unplanned podcast, Joy-Anna reflected back on what it was like growing up on their family's TLC television show, 19 Kids and Counting, and the courting offers her father Jim Bob Duggar would receive from men around the country. While opening up about their own dating experience, Joy-Anna, 26, and her husband Austin Forsyth revealed that the Duggar family patriarch would regularly field hundreds of guys who wanted the chance to date his daughters. I had my keepsake boxes. I had letters in there from when I was like 16 to 17, she recalled, noting how random men or guys from jail would pen messages professing their love. My mom obviously would read them first, because she's like, this is weird, but then we all laugh about it. Joy-Anna said that one standout man had nice cursive handwriting and wrote this whole long letter about how good he is and is an option for me, and God's telling him that I should marry him, all this kind of stuff. While she only received one letter with pictures from jail, some of her older sisters would receive multiple from men who would watch the show and write letters. Despite the influx of proposals, Joy-Anna revealed that some people would ask to be pen pals, rather than asking for their hand in marriage. Some of these requests would be made in person. Austin recalled how men would approach Jim Bob literally everywhere we went, even on family vacations, asking, "Hey, can I talk to your daughter?" Austin added that Jim Bob had a vetting process, and confessed that the idea of dating someone on a television show had been intimidating. This is obviously when the show was still blown and going, he explained. I think that's why Jim Bob wanted to have a month-and-a-half relationship with me before, to see how real it is. To introduce a guy onto your family's TV show, and then next season or next episode, he's gone, like you, just don't want that constant drama, Austin continued. I don't blame him at all for wanting to tell the guys that came like, let's nail it down. Instead, they kept everything quiet, and he and Jim Bob made sure his relationship with Joy-Anna had potential for something greater before going public with it and featuring him on the show. Joy-Anna and Austin got married in May 2017 after getting engaged just a few months after announcing their courtship on the special episode of Counting On, Duggar's wedding in November 2016. The two had been friends for 15 years before dating. In February 2017, Joy-Anna told PUPL that she and Austin had gotten to experience so much already in our relationship, including lots of church ministries, road trips, hiking, hunting, and remodeling houses together. It's really special that I got to grow up with him, and my family knows him really well, she said at the time. Joy-Anna Forsyth's, née Duggar, husband, Austin Forsyth, has shared insight into the courting checklist that father-in-law Jim Bob Duggar gave to his daughter's suitors. That was pretty early on in our conversations, where he gave me that list and wanted me to fill it out. And man, I think the questions in the list, a lot of them were good, Austin, 30, said during his and Joy-Anna's appearance on the Unplanned podcast with Matt and Abby Howard on Wednesday, October 16. Just figuring out where somebody is with their religious beliefs and finances and family planning, and just different stuff like that. While the contractor did agree with some of the questions that Jim Bob, 59, asked on the list, Austin found that maybe some of it was not any of his would-be father-in-law's business. But I mean, there's like, have you ever, been arrested? Have you ever, whatever. And so he knew all that. He knew a lot of that kind of stuff, Austin continued. The process of courtship, or getting to know a potential romantic partner before entering a marriage, has been practiced by the Duggars for years. According to the family's website, courtship seeks to avoid many of the pitfalls that often exist in dating relationships. Courtship is a commitment to honor and protect both individuals in the process of getting to know one another. Family and mentors often play a significant role in helping a man or woman identify characteristics and traits of a potential partner that are important to know and consider before deciding to get married. Abby, 25, wondered how many men had been disqualified from courtship because of the courtship questionnaire. See, that's where I'm like, I don't know. Joy-Anna, 26, replied. My parents have said, we're gonna have these. The way we parent. We want to be kind of a stepping stool for y'all, and you'll figure out how to do it better. I appreciate the idea behind it. I think I would tweak it some, she continued, because we grew up on TV. People know our standards are out there, what we allow, what we don't allow, what, at least my dad allows. I feel like any guy could have come in and filled out the questionnaire and answered all the right questions and been like, oh yeah, you're good to go. Austin and Joy-Anna announced their courtship in November 2016 when the Duggar daughter was 18 years old. However, they had known each other since childhood. Elsewhere on the podcast, the mom of 3 said that she met her then future husband when she was just 4 years old and he was 8 years old. I have no recollection of that, obviously, but his family had moved from Texas at the time and moved to Arkansas and started coming to my family's church. And then we kind of saw each other on and off, Joy-Anna explained. Austin said they attended the same homeschool events growing up and saw each other throughout the year. However, Joy-Anna added that their meetings increased once they started driving, because Austin would visit the Duggar compound to play flag football with her brothers. Soon enough, Joy-Anna developed a crush, but Austin was interested in dating another girl at the time. Though Austin's romance with the other girl didn't work out, Joy-Anna still wasn't sure that she'd end up with him, as she revealed that her parents didn't like him as a potential match for her at first. I went through a little bit of a rebellious time for several years, Austin said, with his wife noting that he was a wild card because he listened to secular music and was hanging out with the wrong crowd. Eventually, however, Austin convinced Jim Bob to let him start a courtship with Joy-Anna. The couple tied the knot in May 2017 and went on to welcome 3 children, son Gideon, daughter Evelyn, and son Gunnar.